And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you loved it so much that you came back for more. Folks, that was a brilliant move. Now, do you know why it was a brilliant move? Because this is the podcast that is about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And our guest today, amongst many other wonderful things, is also wait for it, a podcaster. See, you are brilliant. I told you. You guys figured this all out. Folks, this is the place where we all come together to raise each other up, and this is the place where the rising tide truly raises all ships. So let's get sailing. Let's bring in our awesome guest for today. This wonderful lady is a life coach. She is a spiritual midwife. She's a voice activator for faith-filled women. She is an author, a new author, which is awesome.
Hmm.
So congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
Her new book, Fit for the Call, is out now. You can find it on Amazon. And on top of all of that, she is the host of the hit podcast, Hope Unlocked. Folks,
Yeah.
please welcome to the show, Kristin Kurtz. Kristin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Rory. This is really fun.
I
I can already
appreciate it.
tell this is going to be a great interview.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right. I don't know if we were talking for quite a while beforehand.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I
Mhm.
like turn on the intro, people are like, whoa, what happened to this guy?
I know.
So
Podcasting.
this is the
This is
podcast
what it
voice.
is.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. Kristen, you've got an amazing story, just from what I've read and from you and I speaking even briefly.
Mhm.
Tell everybody a little bit about, who is Kristen? What brings you here? What have you overcome to get here? Start wherever you would like, and you and I will just walk down this path together.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm supposed to kind of give you a sneak peek into what my gravestone's going to say.
Wow. Okay.
She went through hell and she ain't going back.
Okay. Now you have to elaborate on that, right? You can't just drop that mic and and
We're
walk
going to
away.
back it up to the beginning.
All right.
Kristen was named Kristen, which actually means follower of Christ. And I was nothing of anything like that until I was 25. I got saved from addiction. So prior to that, I grew up in a family, and it was very challenging. We moved a lot, very unstable. Um, just it was just it's a whole story, right? It's a whole thing. And I won't get into all the nitty-gritty, but I was completely lost, had no idea who I was, had like identity, like people talk about identity, like that's part of what I do in my coaching for women. I had no clue who I was, what I was, purpose. I actually like hated God because I thought, well, if this is like you're controlling the world and you see everything, hmm, I don't really want to know you. I think I'm just going to keep you over there. So I'm so thankful for my sister who came along and invited me to a church. And I don't know how and why at that very moment I had hit a rock bottom. Literally, I shouldn't be sitting here talking to you probably 50 times over. I was so reckless, driving and I mean, just doing just completely ridiculous things because I literally didn't care. I didn't try to commit suicide or anything, but it was just this life of like, I just don't care. I don't care about life. I don't know why I'm here. And I actually got radically delivered, saved, set free when I was 25. And a girl who smoked 2 packs of cigarettes and drank a bottle of Captain Morgan and a case of beer, all of it, like didn't have any desire for drugs, alcohol, smoking. It just all went. The last thing that I had to get delivered of was my trucker mouth. That took a
Okay.
long time. I had a mouth on me. And speaking of the mouth, I actually got in a lot of trouble growing up because I'm a very curious person. I guess the Lord now calls me a woman of wonder because I'm always wondering about things. I'm always wondering about like the greater meaning and but why? Like and asking teachers, why? But why? Why? And they're just like, shut up. Just quiet little girl. So I went through many, many years of my voice being very silenced and feeling like Moses. So that's kind of it's hard to like encapsulate so much of my life in a very short period of time. But if you can think of like, I guess the best way you could put it is from being captive to captivated. Like I was literally captive to addiction to pain, trauma. I mean, so many different things. And now I'm completely captivated and have been set free. And I continue to get freer because there's always more. But it was such a journey. I look back often, not in a way of like, like that was awful, but more of like, wow, like if he could rescue me, like my husband's a pre-believer right now still.
Uh,
We got married a year before I got saved and set free. So I always say, like, if I could get rescued and set free, like anybody can, because I was like Saul. I always say I'm like Saul to Paul conversion, but I thankfully didn't kill anybody.
that makes it easier, right? I,
Exactly.
I mean, the you and I had a chance to talk beforehand, so we have a little bit of I don't want to say history, but it was at least a conversation.
Yeah, a little
We
bantering.
a
Yeah.
little bantering, laying some groundwork, right? And so I
Yeah.
got to
Mhm.
understand a little bit more about what it means to you to have your voice silenced.
Yeah.
And that's not something that's light. That's not something that's simple or small.
Mhm.
It's interesting that the last thing you had to get rid of was your trucker mouth. It's almost like that was your last chance to sabotage it, right? Before you could regain that power. Is that kind of what was going on?
Oh my gosh. It was a whole language to me.
Yeah,
It was my language, my way of expressing non, wonderful things.
right. And now you consider yourself a voice activator. That's something that you practice.
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
And this all kind of plays, in together with, your voice and so on. Tell folks who don't know what that is and why that's important.
Well, what's really interesting is I was actually on a call with a fellow coach and we were doing kind of like a trade coaching call. And I
Mhm.
just almost prophetically, it came out of my mouth like, you're a voice activator. And I had this vision as I said the words of the words going out. And it was like a boomerang that came back and hit me. And I literally it almost kind of like knocked me out for a moment. And it was almost like the Holy Spirit was just like, that's you too. And I'm like, oh, wow. So, what I started recognizing was as I continued to take steps to get free with it was almost like a chokehold on my voice for so many years. And as I continued to take these little steps that the Lord would call me to take steps in to activate my own voice, as we get pulled out of the pit, like we have an opportunity to go back and pull others out too. So, because I was being activated, I felt this calling to be like, okay, let's activate you too. Because I found that there's a lot of women out there that have voices that have yet to be fully released.
Sure. Wow. D- do you mind if we get into this part just a little bit in terms
Sure.
of because I
Yeah.
definitely we're going to talk about the podcast, but
Yeah.
I'm a curiosity guy also, and
Hmm.
when people have that situation where they're not fully into their voice, and
Hmm.
do you know it at the time? Do you recognize that's where you are, or do you have to come to the recognition first before you can start solving it?
I think it's a both and I think there's times, just even for example in coaching, I like to say sort of, soar when you're calling, roar with your voice. Like we need to roar with our voices. And I've, in my own walk and with women that I work with, I just imagine, do you remember like The Lion King, how the little guy was it Simba?
Simba.
He was
Yeah.
like, ah, and then the lion was like Lion King was behind him, like, rah.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of like we have this, we and it's and we're given an opportunity to maybe speak or take a stand or I feel like we've been given opportunities over our lifetime to speak up, speak about an issue, speak for somebody, speak on behalf of somebody. And are we not doing something because of fear? And I think that's a big piece of it. So there's an opportunity to take a step back and be like, am I not speaking because of fear? People pleasing? Like there's all these little things that we can go down these little trails to figure out like what is the root cause of not speaking up? What is the root cause of not taking an opportunity that maybe the Lord puts in front of you to use your voice?
Well,
Like Moses. Moses is my friend. He's like my buddy.
you've
He's a
mentioned his
great
name a couple of
example.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like my example. Because if we wanted to like kind of segue into the podcasting, that was a big part of like what? Lord, me? My- you want the non-eloquent of speech girl to do that?
Okay. So you were not thinking, "Hey, I want to be a podcaster." This was sort of put on you, and you said, "Hey, I'm all right. I'm going to obey."
Well, it's interesting because back in it was probably 2020, 2021. I was on a call with somebody and we were actually talking about the voice and just some of my own hangups and whatever. And at that, at that very same time I was talking to this person, I get a text from somebody saying, "Hey, have you ever considered doing a podcast?" And like my thought was, haha, and I just laughed it off.
Right.
That's it. That was the culmination of that moment. But it kind of hung out there because I've had so many people over the years like, "Oh, it's so good to hear your voice," or "Oh, your voice calms my nervous system," or "Oh, like you're a very peaceful voice." And I was just like, "What?" Because you know how you have like body dysmorphia? I think I had voice dysmorphia. Wow, I've never said that before. But it's almost like, when you look in the mirror and you're like, "Oh man, I'm like 300 pounds, but yet you're like 100 pounds." Like when I would speak, I was like, nobody wants to hear me. That it was just this whole dysmorphic thing that I don't even know. So that's an interesting concept. Yeah, it started to percolate more, and I don't remember the exact moment, but it was just I kept getting these nudges of like look into having a podcast, and I'm like, Lord, me? Like, I don't know about that. Like I don't even know what to do. And then it became end of 2022 and I just started doing a little bit more research. I was just kind of like playing around with the idea, like, oh, like where would I maybe host it? That's all I really know what to look up. And um, do you want me to dig into this a little more? Because I feel like I'm just kind of going here.
Well, you're doing great. Believe me.
Okay.
This is your episode, first of
We're
all.
just
So
going with the flow.
it is 100% wonderful, and wherever the Holy Spirit takes you, we go.
Okay.
It sounds like you're kind of leading up to what made you get behind the mic at some point.
Hmm.
And that's the only question that I'd be asking as a follow-up anyway, and I'm pretty sure you're on your way there.
I'm getting there. Yep, we're
Yeah,
on the trail.
go for it.
So yeah, I'm looking up all the things, just looking things up. And then I found this, plan that you could follow to start your podcast. And it was like a list of like 100 things. Let's just say it's 100 things. And I'm like,
Right.
that just isn't going to work for me. But I was like, well, if that's what it takes, we'll just put it on the bookshelf for a little while. And 2023 came around and it was a year the Lord said this is going to be the year of the stretch with your voice. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he said, well, if it's in alignment, you need to say yes. And that was when it was like full bring this to life, birth this podcast. And that was in like January of 2023. Um, and I'll never forget, like the name came. It was like I was literally birthing a podcast. I was like, okay, here's the name. Here's, like the tech part was where I was like, I don't even know. I have no idea how to do this. So then I went back to that list again of that 100 things. And the Lord's like, you don't need that. Like, I will show you. And I'm like, okay, what's in my hands then? And do you know what he said? Your mouth and your computer. And I'm like, well, I
I
can
love
handle
it.
that. I can do that. I can do that. So there was a lot of opposition that came. We had a pretty big accident that happened with my youngest son around that time.
Ouch.
Even to the point my podcast is called Hope Unlocked. He ended up having to have rotator cuff surgery. We were praying
Mm.
that he wouldn't. And then even the word that he said to me prior to that was, well, why would I even have any hope if my prayers didn't weren't answered?
Wow.
My podcast, Hope Unlocked, and my own child is saying, why would I even have any hope? And I'm like,
My
whew,
goodness.
this is something we need to pursue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
We're
especially when
going
it
through
comes from
it.
kids, the that
Yeah,
message always rings louder when it's coming
right,
from our children. So, oh
right.
my
Because
goodness.
there's this stirring in me that like there's so many people that had lost hope, especially in this new era that we're in, the 2020, 2021. There's just so much that has gone on that I was like, we need to bring home to people.
Wow.
So it birthed on 3/3 of 23, and that was like, whew, man, I tell you, like, but every episode, I mean, I would be like super nervous in the beginning, but then it was like I hit record and it was just like Holy Spirit took over the whole thing. And he's like, keep it real and raw. Don't edit it, don't audit it. Just come to the table like we shared earlier, like we're gonna have a coffee chat. You like people, you love connecting with people,
Yeah.
you like asking questions. It's a perfect opportunity. Like, why wouldn't you be called to do this?
I love it. I
Like,
love it.
hmm,
I preach the exact same things. When I was listening to your podcast, I was like, I don't think she edits. I love this. This
no.
is great. It was just so just pure. And
Oh,
I love
yeah,
that. I do the same thing.
yeah.
I haven't edited in maybe 6 years.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
I hate it. I can't stand
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, I love the story. I really do. I love where this is all coming from. I mean, I love your heart posture with what you're putting out there. So you start the podcast, okay,
Hmm.
and you have your first episode. You get that under your belt, and
Yeah.
I mean, 190 episodes later, you're you're still telling the story almost with a wince on your face, like I wasn't sure if I should be doing this.
Yeah, I
Have you
mean, I
gotten used
think
to it
back
yet?
to that moment. Oh, absolutely. I love it. But I
Okay.
think back to that, I can viscerally feel who I was at that point and how I was feeling when I first got started. It was it was a whole trip. I mean, I don't like roller coasters. I know some people love roller coasters, but I literally felt like I was at the top of the roller coaster with like no seatbelt on. Like, oh, we're not sure if we're gonna stay in, but God's got me. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love the story. I personally am glad that you're doing the podcast now. Hope Unlocked. Okay, we
Hmm.
just kind of found out a little bit about where the title came from, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, when you started the podcast, what was the purpose for you? What did you want to accomplish by starting the podcast?
Well, I think a big part of it was obedience. Like God called me to it.
Sure,
There was no way out. There was no way out. He was like, You're the girl."
I better make this work.
And I knew because it was the year of the stretch with the voice that it was going to be part of the biggest stretch that I would ever experience in my life. Part two of that was, getting people's stories out there. I've found that a lot of I really love the underdogs and the overcomers. Like they're my people. And I love having overcomers, underdogs on, even ones who maybe like I found that a lot of people I've had on my podcast have never been on a podcast before.
That's
So
cool.
it's almost like it's literally like they're getting like supernatural voice activation coaching without even knowing. I call it like ninja coaching. So, and they get to share their story in a safe place. Like I want to be that safe place where they literally share their stories. I mean, I can go to the grocery store and people will walk up to me and share their whole story with me. So this is a place where they can share their story, but it's like a legacy
Hmm.
because it's encapsulated and they can share it with people. And the other part about it is, over time I've noticed I have a lot of entrepreneurs on ministry, people maybe who've just written a book, their first book, maybe started their own podcast. They're like birthing things and they want to share it with the world. So,
There we go.
and even like the last few months, I had this vision. It's almost like my podcast is kind of like a Yellow Pages. You remember anybody you remember the Yellow Pages? I was born in 77.
Oh yeah.
So we had this thing that we didn't have Google then, and you could open it up and it would be like parsed out by categories. And I feel like it's almost like I get to now, I'm like a resource distribution center where I can now share people's podcast episodes, and now we've got all their information. They can just reach out to the people.
Great way to look at it. It really is.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's like for me, it's almost a ministry in a way too, you know?
Excellent.
Hmm.
Excellent. Again, I love the posture on it. I think it's fantastic.
Hmm.
Everybody has a reason for doing the podcast. And, when you start the answer to that question with, well, I wanted to do this for the people I bring on the show, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
So your heart's in the right place to begin
it
with.
really is. It's like,
That's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
So then the other thing, I was listening to some episodes. I was looking at your podcast and kind of checking out who was on there. I
yeah.
recognized some names, of course, and I was going back and forth, but I was trying to kind of figure out the theme, like, okay, who do you bring on and why and how, and
Mhm.
then you just nailed it. Yeah, I was going to ask you the question, but you bring on people who birth these things, like
Yeah,
creators of some
yeah,
kind into
exactly.
the world. Is that
Mhm.
kind of the only criteria and you're looking for someone that just sort of fits the vibe, or how do you decide who comes on, who you invite on?
I honestly, like in the beginning, I was inviting maybe friends on, people I knew,
Okay.
and now it's been so organic. Like people come, like they're just coming. My favorite example is an 81-year-old woman who came to me through a referral. I think maybe one of her, you know, friends knew about the podcast, or maybe I don't even know, but she's like, I just wrote my first book. And get on my podcast, please. You're 81,
Wow.
And then she wrote a second book. She's like, "Can I come on again?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Let's like this to me is like it's that activating. Like we're taking that voice and like amplifying it. It's not just activating, it's like amplifying the message."
I love that you just said that. We're going to come back to the podcast because, of course, this is the Podcaster Nation. So we're not going to stray from that too far. But I do want to talk about real quick the fact that you wrote a book. And you were
Yeah.
even almost surprised when I called you an author. And you were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm an author, fit for the call." What made you
Yeah.
write the book? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Inside, how were you called to do that? How does
Yeah.
that play with the podcast?
Well, I think part of the reason that I still am kind of like in shock that I'm an author is because my book birthed while we were in the middle of like a supernatural move. We didn't know we were going to be moving until like mid-October,
Hmm.
and my book came out a month later. Literally handed the manuscript to one of my clients who birthed a publishing company because of our work together. So, it's just been a wild last few months. So that's where oh, I actually have a book. That that happened while we were moving. Oh, yes. So one of my favorite chapters in the book is called Weight Training, WAIT training. And I've been called like a wordsmith before. So I love seeing words within words. And one of the other chapters is resist, big letters, resistance training. So if you think of like Fit for the Call, you would think it's like a workout program, but it's actually like it's almost like having a coach in your pocket for like 13 weeks, but it's a spiritual, physical, mental, like all of the things. It's not just like go work out your body. It's like, no, we need to be fit for the call. And the weight training piece is my favorite chapter because there's things that um I've waited decades for. And it's this perseverance, it's the hanging on, tenacity to keep going. And I think in our culture, we just think everything's going to be super quick, super fast. I plant a seed, it's just going to burst forth the next day, even if it's winter. Um,
Right.
so yeah, it's a very different book, and it comes with activations because I feel like not only for me, I feel like a lot of I need like yes, the revelation, but I also need the activation. I need questions to help me like actually go do the thing.
Yeah.
So it's very different.
Wow. The who did you write the book to or for?
Myself, first of all, like just
Nice.
things that have come out of my own journey. And
Cool.
then honestly, like I was thinking of one of my clients.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to reading this now that I know it's out here
Yeah.
on Amazon. I can't wait
Yeah.
to hear this part of it. Let's go
Yeah.
back to the podcast. The podcast obviously can help sell the book, I would imagine. So now on your podcast, I've heard you do a mid-roll interrupt talking about your courses. So you kind of
Hmm.
like you are your own advertiser, and so you break in and you talk about your courses,
Yeah.
right? Besides
Yep.
that, have you had a chance to look at monetizing the podcast at all after 3 years? We talked about it briefly, but has anything worked? What's your experience been? Any of that type of stuff.
Well, I honestly I didn't even really know it was a thing. Like I didn't even think about it. It's just kind of been like this is what I'm called to do, so I'm doing the thing. And I've started having people ask me like, "Hey, are you monetizing?" And I'm like, I haven't really thought about it, honestly. Um, so the platform that I host allows for people to like monthly donate and, give a, free will offering, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
And I do have a faithful donator, a monthly donator. And then I started adding into the show notes. I heard about something called Buy Me a Coffee. So I
Right?
thought, well, I'll just add that to the show notes if somebody wants to, if they just happen to see in the show notes the little treasure down here that they can donate whatever they want.
I just love your
Um,
delivery right now. You're just absolutely killing me because you
I'm
got
just
this like innocent little thing. Like, I don't know if this is right or not, but this is
I
what we
know.
did.
I just get these little, it's almost like these little things come along the trail and it's like, oh, okay, well, let's see if that works. And I've had a
Cool.
couple guests actually donate on Buy Me a Coffee.
Nice.
I've had two donations on there.
Wonderful. All
Yeah.
right. Let me throw this out there for anybody
Yeah.
else who's listening too. There is nothing wrong with any form of monetization. Okay.
Hmm.
Anything that puts a dollar in the podcaster's pocket and helps them make another podcast episode,
Yeah,
I'm in favor of. You
absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
As
me
long as
too.
it's all on the up and up, but it's
Yeah.
beautiful. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you do what you can. This isn't the
Hmm.
type of thing that's taught, unfortunately. It's one of the reasons why I
Yeah.
teach it, but
Hmm.
it's just not. You have to
Yeah.
figure out podcasting on your own. You have to figure out monetization on your own. You're doing pretty good for not having anybody teach you anything and you're just sort of picking it up as you go. I'd say you're doing really well.
Yeah. I mean, I've had somebody and somebody's given tips along the way, and I've tried some of the things, and
Cool.
it just, we are where we're at.
Takes a minute. Right. Let me ask you this because you're at 190 episodes, so you've been doing this for a second. You're
Mhm.
now you're considered an established podcast because you're over
I
100
am.
episodes. You are. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but
Awesome. No, I didn't.
that's right. 4 million podcasts out there. About 385,000 of them are active. And out of those, there's only about 34 to 37,000 that are established, meaning they're over 100 episodes. So,
Oh,
congratulations, because that's not a small feat to get over 100 episodes in today's world with
that's
all the other
amazing.
stuff you have coming at you. Very,
Awesome.
very cool that you've
Well,
done that.
yay.
All
Awesome.
right. Now that we've put that out there and I've given you your kudos, question to follow up all of that is, so what have you done to promote the podcast? How do you get the word out? How do you,
Mhm.
advertise it for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
and say, hey, here's my show. Come listen.
Yeah. Well, every Thursday I have a new episode that drops. I'm starting to have more people. Like it's just, there's a lot of people in the back burner that are waiting to come on.
Mhm.
Um, So I'm going to be dropping like two starting soon a
Oh,
week. And I post to all the social media. I post the new episode. I have a beautiful, I think it's a beautiful like cover art, graphic that I create with a new little face bubble with the new person that comes on and the title and all the beautiful things that I've been led to do. And who knows if it's the right thing to do, but I do it. And then I put it in my newsletter every week and I send it along to the guest and just share with them like, hey, here's your link, here's your graphic. Please share as you're led to. If you want to share, this is yours. Do whatever you want with it. So my thought process is, they're going to do some of the marketing as
hmm.
well. So other than that, that's what I do.
Okay. So once a week, you put a post up with the link to
Yeah.
the episode. Okay.
Hmm.
Are you audio
Yeah.
and video at this point, or just audio?
Just audio.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. And so that's what you're putting out as an audio link, and you're doing that once a
Yep.
week on when you say all the socials, is that Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram? I mean, is it literally
Facebook,
all of them?
Instagram. Well, for me, I do all of the ones I want to. Pinterest, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and there's one more. There's five that I do.
Let's see. TikTok,
TikTok.
Snapchat, X.
TikTok.
Okay. There you go.
Mhm. Yep, TikTok.
Gotcha, gotcha,
Those
gotcha.
are the ones that I've been led to use.
Wonderful.
Hmm.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
sure there's others that, at some point, I'll be honest with you. That quote, like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with little result.
Hmm.
Sometimes that's what it feels like. Because I honestly will go to the insights and it seems like it's just like it's not pushing this out, these posts.
Sure. I understand totally. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot
Mhm.
of podcasters right now listening to this who are nodding their head in unison, going, "Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I feel your
Yeah.
pain right now."
Yeah. So I don't
100%.
want to be insane. I do feel like there's another strategy coming. I just don't know what it is quite yet.
Sure. All right. Well, we'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll have a conversation afterwards. But
Okay.
I love the fact that you're just doing it though, because honestly, where most people
Keep
get
going.
stuck is they don't start. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
started, you came at this guns blazing, and you just took off. And
Yeah.
190 episodes, goodness, you're about to hit 200 episodes like any time
I
now.
know.
That's
So
so fantastic.
exciting. I'm very tenacious though. So like as long
Clearly,
as I'm called to do something, like I will keep going no matter what it looks like.
that's awesome. All right. Well,
Mhm.
that right there tells me that you're going to succeed at this whole thing even more than you are now. All right. I mean, 190 episodes, that's successible by
Yeah, I
anybody's
think so
standards.
too. I'm
So
like, I did 10. Like
good
when I
job.
did 10, I was like, wow, that's successful.
I always get in trouble if I don't ask this question because I mean, I will probably get anywhere from 10 to 15 DMs from people if I don't ask this on an episode. So I got to ask, do you use AI in anything that you do? And if so, how do you utilize it?
I do. I get
Okay.
help with my show notes.
Okay.
Little show note help. I will take so Buzzsprout has their own show summarizing note.
Hmm.
I don't even know what they call it, but basically it'll like spit out something.
Transcript. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's okay. I use Buzzsprout too, so I know what you're talking about.
And Zoom also does the same.
Hmm.
So at one point I was taking Zoom notes, transcript, and throwing it into Chat GPT. And then I was like, it's okay. And I was telling it kind of what to do, like parameters of how many characters and encapsulating, this, that, and the other thing. Um, and it actually helped me a lot. It really helped me a lot because that was for a season. And then I actually took the Buzzsprout notes that it would spit out and took that and put it into Chat GPT to kind of narrow down things because um, I really want to honor the guests that I have on and not like, I can write, anybody can write, but I just really wanted to make sure that I was honoring their voice, their story. So when I get whatever spits out, I'll kind of like make it my own and like change words to make it sound more Kristen, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
clearly you can write. You wrote a book.
Yeah.
So we,
And
we,
it's
we
been
check that
helpful with the
box.
title too. Like it helps me with the title.
of the episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with using it.
No,
I'm
it's
I'm one of these
healthy.
old dogs who just has an issue with AI taking over the world. So everybody teases
Yeah,
me about it, but
it's okay.
the
Yeah, I
tools are
get
very
you.
useful,
I
very
hear
useful
you.
tools.
But this
Right.
part has been like it's been like a little assistant for me for sure
That's
because
great.
like I said, I want to honor what people share and it just really it kind of like pulls it together and then I make it my own.
Love it. All right.
Hmm.
I appreciate you sharing that with everybody too. So
Yeah.
thanks for being just open and honest about, yes, I do use AI and I get
Yep.
some great show notes out of
I
it.
sure
That's
do.
perfect.
That was actually a tip from somebody that is in the podcaster world, and I was like,
Great.
I was like, I would never think to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I always ask a corny question of my
Yeah.
guests on this particular show. So here it comes. All right. Put on
Okay.
the seatbelt. Get ready because it's going to
Okay.
just knock you over.
Okay.
When it comes to doing your podcast, what is it about doing your podcast that you love the most?
Hmm.
And what is it about doing your podcast that you just absolutely throw it out the window, cannot stand the most?
What I love the most, I do love connecting with people, so it's just this fun opportunity to connect with people all over the world. Like it doesn't feel like work, so that's fun to me.
Nice.
Yeah. The flip the script side of it. I think it's just kind of that back end, like getting things ready, putting things, well, go back to the definition of insanity, like marketing. I think honestly, that's probably the biggest thing. Like my heart is to get the message out and amplify it, and it's just been a challenge.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
don't really like that very much.
Gotcha. As you sit right now,
Mhm.
190 episodes in, you start a podcast and this is your intention, this is your purpose, this is where you want to go.
Mhm.
190 episodes in, has that changed? Is there something different that you're looking forward to accomplishing with the podcast, or is it still the exact same mission, but you're 190 episodes later?
You know, it's maintained the same mission, but I just feel like my heart to again amplify the mess. I don't think I really fully understood that it was not only going to like unlock my voice, but unlock other voices as well. So one of God's little fun titles for me is a locksmith. So
Ah,
I want to
okay.
keep unlocking more people with their voices because, like I said, if God could use me doing a podcast, people will come on and be like, oh, wow, you do this. Maybe I could do this too. So it's a ripple effect. I just see the ripple effect more than I ever have before.
That's great. That's amazing.
Hmm.
When a podcaster can truly say that I am here for my guests,
Hmm.
that is such a huge and powerful statement. And
Hmm.
it's such a position of strength to be in
Hmm.
that really there's no way to fail at what you're
Hmm.
doing then. So
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't
hearing
think
that.
so either.
I really do. That's just great. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
All right. All right. I do have one more question for you before we get
okay.
everything wrapped up. But before I get there,
Yeah.
you've got a book, you've got a podcast, you've got a coaching program.
Mm.
Maybe I have two. Tell me quickly about your coaching program. All right. What is it that you do?
Yeah.
How do you help people with what you're talking about? I want to hear about that too, real quick, before we apart.
Yeah. So, I feel like my whole life I've kind of been a coach, but I didn't know I was a coach because of the curiosity behind me. I'm always like interested in hearing people's stories and helping them move forward in their life. Like I've just always wanted to be that pit puller. So like if you're kind of back here and wanting to go somewhere, I'm like, come on, let's go. And so New Wings Coaching, that name, God gave me the name New Wings Coaching back in 2017 when I got started. And it was all about transformation. The butterfly was kind of my like mascot, I guess you could say, about this, going from a ground dweller to a flying object, wonderful flying object. And I think what I have seen over the years is my heart to see women get off the ground and start soaring, right? And really step into what God called them to do, who they were to be, first of all. Like it actually comes first out of the being. The doing comes out of the being. The world tells you to do it, and then you'll be it. So I come from a different perspective. Um, over the years, he's just, you know, the mascot's now an eagle. So that's more about elevation, bigger wings, stronger wings,
Yeah.
freedom, all the things. And it ties in with the spiritual midwife is I just want to come alongside women and help them birth the things that the Lord's calling them to birth. There's a discovery that you're even pregnant. A lot of times they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know I had a book in me. So we get to discover, like with this little ultrasound, I like to say, like, I'm going to bring the ultrasound. We're going to discover what it is, develop it, and then deliver it to the world because my heart is that women stop self-aborting what God put on them to birth in the world because their yes has generational implications.
Wow. I love the way you phrased
It's
that.
huge. It's huge.
You are definitely exercising your voice.
Yeah, I love it's fun.
Yeah.
Like I'm super when I'm passionate about something, like put me on a table and I'll scream it to the roof off the rooftop,
I
you
love
know.
that. You are too. I mean, those are some powerful words that you're choosing, when you're talking about this. So, I
Mhm.
it's not unnoticed, and I
Mhm.
applaud that. That's really great.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
that's the coaching. That's the New Wings coaching program.
Yes. So I do
Got it.
one-on-one coaching. I do some group coaching with one-on-one because I found like I love to bring people in a room together, but there's also this back end, like let's go deeper, do some gold digging,
Yeah,
you know, do more. But yeah, my heart is really the one-on-one coaching. It's those calls that I get on with women and it's like a three-way call with Holy Spirit. And they by the end I'm like falling out of my chair and they're falling out of their chair. So it's really fun.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect. All right. Before I get to what is now my last question,
Mhm.
go ahead and let everybody know how can they reach you, how can they contact you, find out more about the coaching, the book, the podcast. Go for
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm on all the socials.
it.
Instagram, I'm renew.wings, RENEW dot wings. Facebook, you can find my business page, New Wings Coaching, or Kristin Kurtz. I'm a 10, not a 10, for Kristin, Kristin. And then my website's New Wings, plural, coaching.net. So you can find my book on there, the podcast on there, all the things, all the
Nice.
things, all the places,
Beautiful. All right, I'll make sure that at least most of those get into our show
all
notes,
the
and
places. Yeah.
we'll get them out there for everybody. So, all
Sounds
right,
good.
Kristen, with a 10 and not a 10. Let me,
Yes.
I've never heard that before, but it
Heavy
makes total
metal.
sense
Yeah.
now.
Heavy metal.
All right. Let me ask our final question. I like to ask everybody this. It's especially fun when I have folks who are, incredibly accomplished. 190 episodes is really something.
Mhm.
What is your best piece of advice for podcasters who are out there listening right now who are simply
Mhm.
not quite where you are yet?
Mhm. Mhm. Keep going.
That's it. Keep going.
That's
I love
it.
it. End of
That's it.
story. Boom.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
That's just go.
Keep going.
That's those are literally like I tell myself that every day. Two words. You can remember it. KG. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, and say it to yourself every day. Put it on a post-it note. Keep going. Don't quit.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll add a little bit more to it. Even if the numbers don't look like they should, you got to stop shitting on yourself. And I said
Nice.
SHOU. I didn't trucker mouth,
We caught it. There's no trucker mouth here. You're good to go.
but I could. So yeah, just the numbers matter, but at least for me, if God continue has me on this path, like I'm gonna do it for the one. Because
Nice.
one times one in the world is one. That's math multiplication, right? What we learned in school. And for me, what I follow is kingdom math, which is one times one is exponential. So you might have one listener on one episode who goes and like they don't commit suicide, or they go tell somebody a little gold nugget that they learned from your podcast that shifts something for somebody else. You have no idea.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Kristen, I could keep talking to you forever. The folks, life coach, spiritual midwife, voice activator for faith-filled women, New Wings coaching founder, and Kristen Tin, not a 10, Kristin Kurtz, and of course, author of Fit for the Call. We can't forget the author part, and host
Yeah.
of the hit
Yeah.
podcast, 190, soon to be 200 episodes, Hope Unlocked. Kristin Kurtz, thank you so much for being on the show, for sharing everything that you did, and just for helping everybody who gets to hear this episode and is blessed by everything that you've learned and you've shared. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Rory, for having me on, and thank you for what you're doing to host us as a host.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. All
Yeah.
right, folks. Well, you know what? Like she said, keep going. I think that's fantastic.
Keep going.
Absolutely wonderful advice.
Period.
This has been another awesome episode of the Podcaster Nation. And the reason we have such powerful podcasters come on here with these fantastic messages is because this is the place that is for podcasters, it's about podcasters, and it's by podcasters. Like we said before, and like we have said every single day, and like we're going to say again, folks, this truly is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So keep sailing.
Mhm.